This week's tip is going to be focusing on short shots around the green, what we call chip shots, and the clubs that we can use to hit these shots. A lot of times we use sand wedges and gap wedges and lob wedges around the green to hit 90% of our shots, and unfortunately those are the lowest percentage shots that we can use. Reason why is because with a sand wedge you have a lot of angle, you've got a lot of loft, and it's very hard to be exactly precise in hitting those shots and also hitting them the distance you want them to go. One reason is because you produce a lot of spin, and the second reason is you have to fly the ball pretty much 3/4 of the way to the hole to get it somewhat close to the hole and get it to stop in time to be close to the hole. So I want to teach you today using more of a lower lofted club, maybe an 8-iron, 7-iron. A lot of you now have hybrid sets, so we could use a hybrid to hit this shot. And actually the hybrid has become a very easy club to use around the green. Reason for it is because it sets up very similar to a putter almost. You choke down on it, it's got a lower amount of loft, it's got a wide sole, very easy to hit around the green. So I'm going to give you a couple points that you're going to want to do when you set up, and then after that I'll show you how to hit each shot with each club. A couple points that we're going to focus on when we're setting up to hit a chip shot is ball position, the stance that you're going to take to hit the shot, and then the stroke that you want to take when you're swinging the club. So first step that I do when I am ready to hit a chip shot is I want to make believe that I'm hitting a putt. Reason for it is we don't want to take a very big swing. We want our swing to be using more of a pendulum style stroke that has very little, if no, wrist hinge at all in the swing. And we're trying to make believe it's a putt because the ball will be rolling to the hole most of the way. So we want to look at the green as if we were putting. We want to see the slope in the green. We want to see if it's uphill or downhill. And we could really look at it like we're about to make that putt. So the first step that I always take in hitting a chip shot is I get behind the golf ball, I look at the hole, and I'm trying to see if there's any break that I want to play when I hit this shot. Again, I want to feel like I'm putting. Second thing that helps me a lot when I'm doing this is my stance and my ball position. So when I take my stance, I want to actually have my stance slightly open to the intended target line that I'm going to hit the ball on. My stance is going to be fairly narrow, and my weight's going to be on my left side when I'm hitting this shot. Secondly is ball position. I don't want to put the ball too far back in the stance because what will happen is our stroke will be too steep and we'll be using the blade of the club more than we would use the bounce of the club. So I put the ball just ahead of the back foot. I take my narrow stance, I lean my weight on the left side. My last thought is if I have a 10-foot or a 12-foot chip, I want to make believe that I'm taking a stroke long enough to hit a ball that far. So think to yourself when you're on the putting green and you have a 10-foot putt, take a practice swing and try to feel how big of a stroke you're going to need to hit it that distance. That would be the first step in trying to learn how to control the distance for this shot. Also, club decision will help you with your distance control. If you have a club that's got too low of a loft, it might roll too much. And if you have a club that's got too high of a loft, it might stop really quickly because it promotes a little bit more spin when you hit it. So you've got to get down here to the practice range and you've got to learn how to hit each one of your clubs and see what they do and how they react after you hit them. After I do that, I even take my grip. I choke down on the club a little bit, almost down to the metal, and I take the grip that I would putt with. I actually allow my right finger or my left finger to go down my right hand. So when I take my chip shot, I'm setting up that way to make believe that I'm putting. I want to feel like I'm comfortable and I'm putting. And then the last thing I do is I take that nice pendulum stroke and putt down that line. If you practice those three things, you will get better with this shot.